Hi friends, faith is like Wi-Fi. It is invisible, but it has the power to connect you to what you need. Welcome all to another episode of our online class. Today we are going to start our first lesson, A Letter to God. So before starting the lesson, a short profile about our writer G.L. Fuentes. Okay, now there is a saying that faith can move mountains here, but what should we do to put our faith in? This is the question this story delicately poses. The main protagonist of this story, a farmer, his name is Lencho. CH different pronunciations, Lencho, then Lenshaw, Lenko, but the actual pronunciation in this story is Lencho. And before starting the lesson, one more thing. Have you ever visited a post office? Do you know how to send a money order? Do you know how to write a money order? So, this money order or post office, these are the two most important factors in this story. Okay? Now, in our textbook, there is a picture of a money order form, and you can just go through it and try to fill that money order form. Now to the story. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. So, the first para. The house, the only one in the entire valley. So, there was a valley. In that entire valley, only one house is there, and that house belongs to the farmer Lencho, and sat on the crest of a low hill. So that house situated on the crest of a low hill. Crest means top of a hill. So there is a low hill, and on the top of that hill, this Lencho's house. From this height, one could see the river and the fields of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. So, from that height, one could easily see the visual, the scenic beauty of the ripe corn. The fully grown corns are there, cornfield, and then there the river. And the corn that dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. Lencho was happy because the sight of the cornfield that ensures him a good harvest this year. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. The only thing that needed a downpour or a light shower means a drizzle, a slight rain. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Then, throughout that morning, Lencho, who knew his field intimately because he was a genuine farmer, he was farming there for many years, and then that morning, Lencho had done nothing else but see the sky and towards the northeast because he's expecting rain. That's why he's looking on the sky. And now we are really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God willing. So now, having seen the sky, Lencho told his wife, now we are really going to get some water. I expect we are really going to get some water. And the woman who was preparing supper, she replied, yes, God willing. By the grace of God, if God willing, surely we will get some rain. The older boys were walking in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, come for dinner. It was during the meal that just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. Now, the older boys were working in the field. So Lencho's older boys, they were working in the field, and then the smaller ones, the young ones, they were playing near the house. And they were playing until the woman called to them all. They called all the children, come boys, come for dinner. And it was during the meal that just Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. At the meal time, when they are having their meal, just like Lencho had predicted, the rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10 cent pieces, and the little ones are 5s. And when the big drops of rain began to fall, then in the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. When Lencho get out of his house, he can see the northeast clouds gathering or approaching the mountains. And then the air was fresh and sweet. So before the arrival of a rain, the air was fresh, chill, and it's sweet. And the man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. He just went out just to feeling the pleasure of the rain to his body. We all like rain. We all like when a rain happens, we all like to go outside and enjoy and feel the rain. Just like Lencho wants to feel the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed. And when he returned, he exclaimed. He said with wonder or with awe, he said, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky. These are new coins. He said, these aren't raindrops. Actually, these are coins falling from the sky. The big drops are 10 cent pieces. 10 cent pieces means a small amount of money, just like namala paisa annaka parana pole. So the big drops of rains are 10 cent pieces and the small ones are 5 cent pieces. So these words shows Lencho was very happy because last para we said only a small amount of rain needed for a good harvest. That's why when the clouds gathered on top of the hill, he was quite happy and he said the big drops are equal to 10 cent pieces and the small drops are equal to 5 cent pieces. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers, draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Expect the unexpected. That is what is life. We always said life has its own twists and turns. We cannot predict what is going to happen in the next moment. Similarly here, with a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. So now, when the rain is falling down, Lencho was looking on his cornfield with a satisfying look, because this amount of rain is very much needed for a good harvest. That's why a satisfying look on his face. But suddenly what happened? Then suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. Suddenly there was a huge, heavy storm, and it began to fall hailstones instead of raindrops. Hailstones means large pieces of ice blocks instead of rain. In Malayalam we say ആലിപ്പഴം എന്ന് നമ്മൾ പറയും. ആലിപ്പഴം കഴിക്കുന്ന സാധനമൊന്നുമല്ല, ഐസ് പീസസ് ആണ്. ആകാശത്ത് നിന്ന് ഐസ് പീസസ് താഴേക്ക് വീഴുന്നതാണ്. Suddenly it began to fall hailstones, and these truly did resemble new silver coins. The entire field was covered with hailstones. And now one looks on the field. It's the field like full of silver coins because of the large amount of these hailstones. A field full of silver coins. And what happened? The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls, because these hailstones, this type of hailstones, this will happen once in a blue moon, very rarely. So that's why the boys, they were very happy, the children. They went out the house and they started to collecting these frozen pearls, which means that hailstones. But it's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. Lencho, it's a symbol of danger, or it's a sign of danger, because now hailstones, when hailstones began to fall, it will destroy the cornflowers. That will affect the harvest. That Lencho the farmer knew very well. That's why he said, it is really getting bad now. Exclaimed the man, I hope it passes quickly. Oh God, it is really, the thing is really going to be worse. I hope it passes quickly. But man proposes, God disperses. What happened? It did not pass quickly, but Lencho's wish that didn't fulfill, or that wouldn't happen. What happened? The hailstones, it began to fall continuously for some time. And as a result of this, what happened? For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. So, for an hour the hail rained on the house. So that hailstones that lasted for an hour. And as a result of this, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley, everywhere hailstones. And the field now was white, as if covered with salt. Now there is no sign of corns. The field looks like it is covered with salt. So an unexpected tragedy, or an unexpected calamity happened to Lencho. And now how he is going to face this situation? That is the next part of our story. So from this part, we have to find out the answers of some questions. So these are the questions based on this part. What did Lencho hope for? So what was Lencho's hope? What did Lencho hope for? Then why did Lencho say the raindrops were like new coins? So why he said the raindrops were like new coins? We know the reason, because he said only a downpour or a small amount of rain is needed for a good fortune or a good harvest. That's why, maybe. And how did the rain change? What happened to Lencho's fields? So how did the rain changed? At first it began to rain, but after that hailstones, and it lasted for an hour. And as a result of this, his entire field is covered with the hailstones, and all his cornflowers, fully grown corn, were destroyed. And now his cornfield looks like a field of salt. Right? So this is what is this part of the lesson, and we will discuss how this rain changed Lencho, or what are the things he was going or he is going to do. He is a strong believer. He strongly believes in God. Did this change his belief in God? We don't know. We will find out the answer in our next class. Before winding up today's class, I want to ask you a question, a simple question. So, a letter to God is the name of our story. So, I want to ask a question about a book. The name also related to God. The name of the book is God of Small Things. I know many of you are known about this book, The God of Small Things, written by a Malayali, Arundhati Roy, and she won the Booker Prize for this book. But my question is, name the village that described in this book, a village from, I think it's in Kottayam. What was the name of that village mentioned in the book, The God of Small Things? Those who knew the answer, please send me the answer. I hope you understand today's class. Thank you and have a nice day.